Ladies and gentlemen, and people of all ages, welcome to my new YouTube channel, Discography Breakdown. On this channel, I'll be breaking down artists' complete discography. I'll pick the best album, worst album, and what albums I think they were in their prime and past their prime. I also will point out how artists sound and where they come from artistically changed over the years due to trends in hip hop and the genre of music. I'll, I'll try to be more commercial and do whatever. Trying to be more commercial and do whatever is hot. I'm starting with 80s and early 90s hip hop artists. I was not even born when some of these albums came out. Just being born or just was a toddler. That's why I'm so interested to research this era. Then I'll go into the early 90s to the early 2000s artists. I'm mostly doing legends and iconic artists. I will eventually do a discography breaks down on artists from other genres of music like R&B, pop, rock. Break down actors' careers. They do a lot in film and TV, but certain movies and TV shows can propel their careers to higher heights, or they can ruin their careers. I also do directors, producers. I'll do baseball, football, and basketball players. The athletes, all their career, they have a peak and a decline. I can do authors, record labels, groups, and solo careers, music producers, hip hop, and R&B. There's so many directions I can take this channel. I'm so excited. The biggest thing for me is just getting started. The first episode of the channel will be the discography breakdown of Slick Rick, the ruler. The second episode will be Big Daddy Kane. Slick Rick only came out with 4 albums but left an indelible mark on hip hop. He caught a case which derailed his career during the height of his career. His career is now 36 years long at the time of me writing this episode. The Great Adventures of Slick Rick was released on November 1st, 1988, 18 days before I was born. That shows how great this project is. It still is considered a classic and one of the greatest hip-hop albums and debut albums of all time. It's 12 tracks on the Great Adventures of Slick Rick. No features listed on the album. It's just Slick Rick. The Great Adventures of Slick Rick consists of 3 singles: Teenage Love, Children's Story, and Hey Young World. I felt Mona Lisa should have been a single, even though it got a lot of airplay. The producers on the album are Slick Rick, who produced Treated Like a Prostitute, Children's Story, and Hey Young World. The Bomb Squad, Jerry Martin, Jam Master Jay. I never knew Slick Rick produced his own song. That's another check. The standout tracks on the album is Children's Story, Hey Young World, Teenage Love, Treated Like a Prostitute, and The Moment I Feared. There was no featured artist. It was just Slick Rick all the way through. The most underrated songs on them are the moment I Feared, and Treated Like a Prostitute. It's because it showed his storytelling prowess and his ability to change his voice to portray different characters. How would I describe the Great Adventures of Slick Rick? As a masterpiece. The beats were the canvas. Slick Rick lyrics was the paintbrush to paint vivid stories through his songs. Now, moving on, going into the Ruler Is Back album, released on July 2nd, 1991. There was no features on this album. Once again, there was 3 singles: Shouldn't Have Done It, Mistakes of a Woman in Love with Other Men, and It's a Boy. This album is made up of 12 tracks. The producers on the album are Slick Rick, Vance Wright, Mr. Lee. To me, it's no standout and underrated songs on this album. I truly felt that they was way after listening to this album a couple of times. While he was recording this album, he caught a case. That I'm not going to get into. So he had to record 2 albums while out on belt in 3 weeks. How I would describe the album: disappointing, rushed. It was a big drop off from the great adventures of Slick Rick, subpar, lackluster. Slick Rick third studio album, Behind Bars, released on November 22nd, 1994 on Def Jam. The second album to be released in my birthday month, November. It's 11 tracks on the album featuring Dougie Fresh on Send It in My Car. I heard the version of Send It in My Car with Jermaine Dupri on it. Nice and Smooth and Warren G. The producers on the album is Epitome of Scratch, Vance Wright, who did a lot of producing on Slick Rick previous album The Rule Is Back, Slick Rick, Easy Mo B, Greg Nice, Pete Rock, Large Professor, and Warren G. To me, it's no standout tracks on the album. I think Behind Bars is an underrated track, but a song about life behind bars as your lead single off your album, it's not a good idea. So like when Akon came out when I'm Locked Up, that was a smash single, but that was like more like a it was more relatable. To me, it was like more relatable and hit home. To me, than this Behind Bars as a lead single about being in jail, but I mean, but you could tell that Behind Bars is probably the best song off the album. I would describe this album as mediocre, subpar compared to the great adventures of Slick Rick. I mentioned this before. He had to record 2 albums in 3 weeks. That's a recipe for making subpar hip hop music. You can't work with a lot of producers or artists because of the limited schedule. You gotta rush lyrics and finish songs. Going to jails always destroy rappers' careers. Also, you can't make videos for the album singles because the artist is behind bars. You can't tour and promote the album how you want because the artist is behind bars. You can do radio interviews. It's bad all the way around. Now, going into Slick Rick's 4th album and final studio album, The Art of Storytelling, released on May 25th, 1999 on Def Jam. It was only one single release off this album, which is unusual. Most albums have at least 2 singles. A good idea for a second seed would be Bring It to Your Heart is featuring Nas. The standout track to me is Street Talking featuring Big Boy from Outkast. They got it labeled as Outkast featured, but Big Boy is the only one on it. Street Talking is my favorite Slick Rick song. Maybe it's a version with both Andre 3000 and Big Boy on it. A underrated song is Bring It to Your Heart is featuring Nas. I think this song would be bigger if they shot a video for this song. This is one of Nas' most underrated features. Other than Bring It to Your Heart, it's no other standout tracks to me. Adults Only talks about how freaky he likes to get. I like the skits on the album where Redman, Ed Lover, Peter Guns, and Q-Tip pay homage to Slick Rick by reciting his old classic lyrics. I think The Art of Storytelling is better than The Rule Is Back and Behind Bars, but it's not great to me. But I like The Art of Storytelling. It's very solid. Slick Rick said he considers The Art of Storytelling to be the true follow-up to the great adventures of Slick Rick. He also said that he thought that The Ruler's Back and Behind Bars are whack albums. The producers on The Art of Storytelling are Bimmy, DJ Clark Kent, rest in peace, Jazzy Faye, Huron Goodwin, Tony Pong, better known as the Trackmasters, Tyrone Phi Nod, Rashad Smith, Raymond Dill, and Rev Run. This shows you don't gotta come out with a lot of albums to leave an indelible mark on hip hop. Slick Rick goes down in history as one of the greatest storytellers in hip hop history and one of the greatest MCs. Alright, stay tuned and subscribe and give me some likes and comments. So the next episode will be about Big Daddy's Kane discography, Breakdownn. Discography. Breakdownn. Also check out my other YouTube channel, Investor Success.